Welcome to my podcast where I talk about all things related to money mindset, finance, business and investing. My name is Royston Cumberbatch, a qualified accountant with over 30 years experience in finance and business. Coming from a very humble background, I have continuously challenged the assumptions and the expectations of what I'm capable of achieving for myself and others. Over the years, I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs to decipher finance and to make more money and to run highly successful businesses. On this podcast, I will share with you tips, strategies, techniques, and tools that you can use to make more money, manage money better, and to maximize your success. Welcome to another episode of the Financial Intelligence Mindset Podcast. We bring you guests from different backgrounds all the time. And today I got a very, very special guest with me today. And she started off more, like you say, in the academic world, doing her MBA with London Business School as well. And then she ventured into consultancy and now she runs her own business. Welcome to Anna Szymanowska. I think I got the name right. So Anna, welcome. Please introduce yourself. Please just tell us about your background a bit and just why do you go into business versus say working for a big consultancy firm?
So my background is in various areas. My very first master's is in industrial engineering. Then I did renewable energy and finally MBA at London Business School. And I did work for big companies for about 7-8 years, and I felt like I got enough of the experience that I needed. So that was the right time, I believe, to start something on my own.
Cool. So starting up on your own as a founder on your own, like did you go into business with someone else? Or was it just you and your big idea and you just like, I'm going to do it?
I did have, other people that kind of, were sharing the passion. And so I did not start completely on my own, but it's a very different, thing when someone just likes your idea and someone that, actually is able to help. So, I kind of had a lot of people that wanted to help, but not necessarily knew how. So for that reason, the first year, I just worked with different people, and it was only a year after that I found, a co-founder that is actually really adding value and is now staying with me for another year. So,
All right. So basically I understand. So if you were advising someone right now who's going to go into business, right? Mm-hmm. And they wanted to start up, say with someone or on their own, but they were looking for a partner and there was that's kind of was stopping them from starting. What would you advise them to do? Wait until they get a partner or just go it alone if you can?
It all depends. I always tell people, it's best to start a business when you can, in an area that you have knowledge about. So that's why I never kind of started, any fintech, although obviously I know that it would have us, much quicker, growth probably and better valuation. It's just because, I would not be able to take care of, of the product, and I would not want to rely on anyone else. So my always advice is to start a business where you can actually do it on your own. And then, work with people that obviously can complement your skills, and then also when you already decide to work with someone, to always make sure to have contracts in place, because so many people come to me and say, oh, we have a fallout with a person, they don't work and they want equity, and I'm like, no. How you work is you have to have a cliff, you have to have a vesting contract, vesting equity over 3-4 years, and everything written in a contract. So that's kind of an advice I believe everyone is talking about, no one is following, but people have to learn that at some point, and we'll learn that hopefully.
All right, good. All right, so talk to us about in terms of when you're starting up, when you're looking to launch a business, what are some of the things based on your experience you must have in place, you must put in place? I mean this is just in hindsight as well, maybe things that you didn't have in place, but if you were starting again from scratch now, or you were advising someone to start, what are some of the things you say you must have in place to launch a business?
Yeah, I think it's so many things. It's not one thing. It's definitely the willingness to believe in your product. Then you need to be able actually to deliver the product. So many people have an idea but don't actually know how to make the product. And I'm talking a lot about tech here because there are so many people, starting something tech. They know what problem they want to solve, and they know what would be the ideal solution, but they didn't know how. So knowing this, I believe it's the most important. And then having the passion and being sure that like you've actually have enough experience to know you don't have FOMO, that you're not doing something else. I really admire people that, start businesses at very early, 20, 21, not having had like experience somewhere else, because I would definitely be like jealous about, other people having stable jobs. Now I'm not anymore because I know the, downsides of it, and I'm not missing that. But also like that's why the confidence is important. And for many people, that's why it's advisable to first, have somewhere else experience, to later on like not regret anything. That thing that is very important. Once you have your product you are able to build, and you are also feeling like energetic, you want to do this, is definitely a financial kind of plan. So you definitely need as well to have like a idea where to get money from. Be sure that you have the financial runway for at least a few years. So
I got. Don't worry about the distraction, man. Don't worry about the noise. Just zoom in, focusing. Once another fire alarm. I mean, look, you're a business person. You're a business person. You're currently in a co-working space in London. You're doing well. You're sharing some stuff with people. It's all good. It's all good. You know what I mean? As long as people who listen can get some gems, that's the main thing, right? Yeah. So, you said a few things. Obviously, this is called Financial Intelligence Mindset Podcast. So we're going to deep dive on the finance. But I just want to know, for me, business and finance work hand in hand. So we don't just talk about the finance. We talk about, the financial intelligence, of running the business. So we are to get into the finance bits. So I hear what you say. Make sure you're passionate. Make sure you know what you're going to get into. You have the knowledge. Make sure you have a plan. So most businesses fail, right? It's a fact. Most businesses fail. Yeah. But you had the confidence to go into it anyway. But I guess you did a business course or you did an MBA before going into business. So, I did an MBA as well. And I think my MBA has helped me when I moved from, say, doing accountancy jobs to doing like what I call transformation or consultancy jobs. Now, how important would you say someone going into business in terms of educating themselves about business, whether it's an MBA or a short course, or how important would you say is having that educational background?
Yes, I think again it's all comes down to really personal, just needs, I guess. I know so many people that say, I don't need that. And the most important is that they know they don't need that, and it's fine. I felt like I do, because I knew that, if I didn't have it, I would be all the time asking myself, am I doing things right? Do I do finances correctly? Do I do the correct things about, marketing, branding, team management? We are now a team of 6, and it's not given that, you know how to handle them. So I think I would just question myself much more if I didn't go through this. And the MBA gave me the confidence. I know that like I'm doing, things that probably, no one would be able to do 1,000 times better. There is always people that, are a natural talent as well, and naturally, would lead a business better. But again, it's all about confidence. And I'm just like making sure that like I've made everything, I could to prepare myself for that. And again, and anytime I'm in doubt, I'm always like thinking about, these classes, like, leading teams, right? You need to make sure that like, everyone is actually also feeling like, they are growing, they know what they do. You have to like, do check-ins with them. You have to make sure that, train them. They obviously, need to stay motivated. You also want that they stay as long as, they want, with you and can. So all of these things I would believe, I think, are coming from MBA, definitely.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, because basically, like I did an MBA as well. I did like leadership development. It gives you a framework of how to keep people inspired, how to make people have a kind of a picture of the vision where you're going, because ultimately you want people to feel like they're on a growth path as well. It's not just you growing your business, but the people who are working with you, by the business growing, they're growing as well. So I hear what you said, and I think you're right. I think doing MBAs and stuff gives you the framework. But there are people, there are also self-made entrepreneurs. There are people who never did any courses. As a matter of fact, the guy I interviewed before this, he by the age of 30, he had done 4 businesses. And he seemed to have some good story, and so do you as well. So so you've been in business now for a few years, is that correct?
2 years, yeah.
2 years. So when you look back at 2 years now, and you say, wow, I've been in business for 2 years, what would you say has been your biggest sort of learning point that you did not learn in an MBA, that a practical business taught you that you didn't actually do in your MBA?
Okay.
I ask difficult questions, I know.
Yeah, no, because in the MBA, you definitely, do so many cases on like, huge companies. So you feel like, there is, I don't know if there is anything that like we went through that like other successful companies wouldn't, right? We are, I still believe, in a very early trajectory. We, again, are only people, a team of 6 people, which is, not huge. I'm aware of that. So we definitely like didn't go through like a scale yet, where I have to like, hire whole teams, and like, I kind of know what is expecting me. If you want to grow, if you want to like, search for more investment, we got like, very, early stage investment. I am aware that like, to make the company bigger, we have to have a much bolder plan, huge, just like, growth there, aggressive growth there, plan, hire more people, and maybe like, introduce more SKUs, all of this. So I'm not sure if there's anything, that like I was completely, came by shock. Again, I feel like I came into this quite prepared. I worked for many years in corporate before, and then the MBA. I feel like that's the thing. It equipped me good enough to kind of not say.
I like it.
Nothing like.
Well, I mean, that's good. That's good. I guess the London Business School MBA is a very good program then in terms of equipping people for the business world. Okay, so what would you say then has been your biggest challenge being in the business for the last couple of years? Your biggest, not to say a learning point, but what has been your biggest challenge? Something that you had to deal with that kind of made you have to put your thinking cap on?
It's definitely growth. So there are obviously like on every aspect, there are challenges, right? Like, customer service could be better. I'm still thinking like, how to automate it and not losing kind of, this personal touch. How to also like grow the brand, but also like grow the sales, definitely. Yes. So this is something we, obviously every business needs just more revenue and, higher margins. So this is, I always like whoever does like, their business projection plan, they always kind of, show this hockey stick, right? Like in this year, I sold, this amount, I will do time 10, with next year. I just hire 10 times more people, and get more investment, and this is going to happen. It does not work like this. Sometimes you have these roadblocks. Sometimes, like, you just for some reason, the growth is not coming, and this is definitely something you always kind of constantly need to think out of the box. How to attract new partners. There is so many ways of selling of this product, and so many ways of positioning it that we kind of still haven't explored everything. So this is a big challenge.
I got it. All right. So let's get into some of the meat of this discussion. So you're talking about different products. So let's talk about, and you mentioned a keyword here, which I really like, which I think a lot of people don't look at, and it's so important, and it's the word called margin or gross profit margin.
Yeah.
So I guess that you have a range of products that you supply. First of all, you want to talk about those products, and maybe do you want to talk about like how important is it to know your margin on a product? Your gross profit margin.
Yes, it's super important. I'm teaching like my team all the time about like make sure you know how to calculate it. I've created Excel files for them, to calculate it for our wholesale customers. It is super important. This is basically the selling point. So we not only sell, to end customers, but also a lot into trade. So like to resellers. And for them, the most important thing is like margin. So we definitely need to, this kind of our second or third, kind of selling point. Like, this is a great product, great reviews, loyal customer base, and you will make money with this. So we basically are very much, following this, making sure that we stay, profitable. and constantly, improve our supply chain, negotiate prices. I also my co-founder is really great at this. So she is talking to all of our suppliers and factory, making sure that with X amount of volume, we get a discount. And we definitely all the time, think about this. Our product is not even complicated. We have maybe around 15 suppliers only. So you can count them almost on the fingers of your hand. And yet, it is still challenging because you have to make sure that obviously there is no bottlenecks, whatever one supplier defaults, obviously we can't deliver the product. And also some suppliers just are either out of stock. The next one is super expensive. Again, it can just ruin, your profits, right? Because you are paying more for the product that you're going to sell it at. So we definitely, have to think about this all the time. This is kind of the core.
I like it. And for those people who are listening, when we talk about margin, it's also called the contribution ratio, right? Where margin is basically, you get your gross profit, which you have you have basically your selling price, you have the direct cost that you pay for the product, which can include labor, materials, overheads. Then you get your gross profit, and you take your gross profit as a percentage of your sales to get your margin. And that's called the contribution ratio because it contributes to your operational expenses. It contributes to your admin expenses. And I like what you said actually about managing the value chain, which is what you spoke about earlier. Because, for example, if a supplier, doesn't provide the services on time, it can cause issue for the onward buyer, right? So I guess you are always managing that chain, that value chain. And I like it. No, and it's funny because I always say to people that profit, and maybe I'll take your view on this, right? And I wouldn't ask you the question, but I said to my class yesterday, because I have a group coaching program, I said to them, profit. I asked each of them what is profit, and everybody said that profit is income minus expenses. But obviously, I tweaked their brain. I said, no, profit is a reward for creating value. Profit is value creation. The more value you give, the more money you make. So let me ask you a question. Saying profit is a reward for value. Can you relate to that? How much would you say that being in business and adding value to others, or being seen as a company that really gives value to others, how much does that help you to make profits?
Well, first of all, you will not get revenue if someone thinks your product is useless. And so just, the fact that you're able to, to sell a product and someone is willing to pay for it, I believe, this is also shows value, but obviously it has to be above your costs. And in my case, I decided to do this product because I was a customer of similar products myself. So I felt if I'm able to pay for the product, I'm hoping that other will see the value too. And the value we are giving is basically convenience. So ginger is quite a difficult, I would say, vegetable root to handle. No one is eating raw ginger. It's in big amounts. We added grated a little bit to dishes, but if you actually want the benefit of it, you need to eat much more. And the only way is really cold pressing it. And also not everyone has a cold press. And even though I have a cold press at home, I was still couldn't be bothered of doing this, every time I wanted, to drink a ginger juice. So I realized that buying it, ready ginger juice is, a value. And then, the value that the root brings is also for a reason we do ginger and not, let's say, apple, because apple doesn't have, the same health benefits. It doesn't help you with muscle recovery. It doesn't help you with flu conditions. It doesn't help you it doesn't give you the energy, the same kick. So, we believe that there is value, in the product, in the ingredient, but also in the way we sell it. So the form, which is ready, to drink juice.
Wow. I really love it. And I think it's a good time to talk about your business in more detail and what products you have. And what I really like about your business, and I think it definitely you're someone I would keep in touch with, because I'm a person, I really like to look at food as medicine. And you mentioned ginger, and my heart just light up because I use things like ginger, things like cayenne pepper. I mean, my mom, who is still alive and still on the island here, she plants, oregano. She plants so much herbs, even Vicks, even spearmint, peppermints, all these products. And when you said ginger, I was like, wow, even things like turmeric. So let's talk about your business, your brand, what your business do, and how does your business add value to people, but more focus on the different products that you have. I know that your business is called Fighter Shots.
Yes.
So let's talk about Fighter Shots and what products does Fighter Shots provide, and why should someone do business with you?
In what way? Because there are so many ways they could do business.
I say why should they? Not how, but why.
Okay. So the products, yes, we do have shots. We sell shots. We have 5 different SKUs, so 5 different flavors. They are all ginger based because we do believe in the benefits of ginger, but they also have other mixes in it, like turmeric, which you mentioned as well, and then manuka honey, collagen, and beetroot, which we all believe are very, very healthy and good for you. And we also have the variety, because I do think variety is important. There is no one ingredient that, no matter how healthy it is, your body does need variety. And so we very much also trying, through our social media channels, we're trying to educate people. And we always say, in a week, you need to eat at least 30 different, plants, vegetables, fruits, or seeds, just so that your body, gets all the nutrients. You will not get, this from no matter how, healthy ginger or turmeric are. You shouldn't ever just be eating that. It's just one of your 30 in a week, I would say.
Wow. 30 in a week. That's some people say 6 a day, 5 a day. It kind of makes sense. I guess 5 a day times 6 days, so a different 5 a day, right?
Different.
Exactly. So your business does shots, which is I guess that makes sense. Like ginger shots. Is it like beetroot shots? And do you manufacture them, or do you just source and supply them? Talk to us about that a bit more.
Yeah, so it's not our factory, it's a third-party factory, but we are responsible for the whole process. So we supply them with all the ingredients. We source ingredients separately. As I've mentioned, we have 15 different suppliers, and we have to make sure that everything, is arriving in the factory on time, and then that the factory, manufactures the product to our specification. And it's all made here in the UK with no additives. It's all cold pressed and natural. So
I like it. So your core business is shots. Am I correct? It's just shots. Yes. Five different shots. You manufacture them, and then you sell them on in wholesale and retail. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I like it. It's a great business. So normally when I go to herb shops, etc., I see the beetroot shots or the ginger shots or the different shots. So now I probably encourage people to look for Fighter Shots.
Hopefully, in the UK.
Yeah, that's good. All right. So let's move the conversation onward. So currently, in terms of your plan for a scale up, because as you said earlier, scale up is important, I guess, to survive in business, right? I think I was listening to Grant Cardone, and he was saying there's many people say there is no point in playing small. Yeah. So what would you say is your kind of strategic outlook, your plan, your big plan for the business, in terms of scaling it and going bigger?
Yeah, we have several, so to say, scenarios, really. The basic one is, the organic growth. I believe, as it's really for every business, where we are trying, with our small team, to do the sales. We are also giving it a go, on digital marketing and paid ads. And we want to kind of, first make sure that we understand how it works before we throw too much money at it. Yes. So we want to have early results and see kind of, how that works. And if we decide that, okay, throwing more money will, bring return then we are considering like, either further investment or loans or we already like, have several people interested in investing. So we might bring it further. But again, we don't want to overpromise. We want to make sure that like, there is definitely market for it and that we are ready, for it. So we are definitely like not too aggressive, I would say. There are so many businesses that within 2 years obviously have grown like, to hundreds of millions of revenue. We plan, maybe 500,000 of revenue this year, which again, I'm still very happy with. I still think like, I'm learning so much and, it's sustainable. It's profitable, so I don't kind of have the urge to go faster, especially that I really enjoy what we are doing, and I really kind of like seeing every step like on my own. I again, from MBA, I exactly know like what would be the recipe for like growing a much more aggressive company. I would prepare like a fantastic deck promising 100 million sales by next year. Investors raise a few million, but then I would need to stress with actually delivering that, right? And I feel like it's not necessary. I also again don't want to overpromise and want to make sure that what we do is sustainable.
Yeah, makes sense. I like it because oftentimes, like as you said, you want to make sure that you kind of have a model whereby if you put in an extra million, you will make 5 million, as opposed to just pumping money at something that's leaking money, right? Yeah. And I quite like what you said, right? So in terms of your business, and in terms of at the moment you say that the main way that you want to grow is organically, and for me, and I actually use it a lot, I say free cash flow, which is obviously after you cover all your expenses in terms of capital expenditure as well, you have some money left over to pump back into the business. So to me that's really, really important. So when you started the business, so did you start up with like your own capital, or did you take funding? How did you fund the startup?
No, I think at the beginning you always like, need some sort of an investment to at least have the so-called MVP, and do some sales to even for yourself to kind of understand, is it working or not? And in my case, I definitely put some money myself, and the first funding we only got a year after. So for the first year, where we generated, I think already like, at least 100,000 sales, maybe not, maybe almost there, I think. That was all generated with own funds. And
I like it. And that's called bootstrapping. So you kind of bootstrap the startup. And when you said MVP, for people who listen, goes, what the hell is MVP? It's a minimum viable product. So you obviously prove that you have a product that people want, it's in demand, it's making profit, and then you kind of got some investment in. All right. So let's get into the financial stuff now. So what are some of the key metrics or key numbers would you say that you as the owner, I know we touched on margin already, but what are some of the other key numbers that you kind of look, when you come in to manage your business, or you come in to monitor the business performance, what are some of the key numbers that you look at and you think anybody in a manufacturing business should be looking at?
So I think here the numbers are definitely much easier than, like, as I already mentioned, some tech businesses have completely different metrics. Our product, a physical product, FMCG product, has quite simple metrics. So basically, you obviously need to, look at the revenue. Are we generating enough money, for further productions? Another very important metrics for us is returning, customer base, and we are happy that for us it's around 40% according to our Shopify store. We are not like we get so many orders like per email, and I have to admit we are not tracking all of the kind of channels. Like, there obviously is order customers and order ones, and and that's it. There are a lot of customers that do come back, but from the Shopify channel is around 40%. We have thousands of customers, thousands of orders as well. So I think it's quite a number that you can that statistically it does make sense. So LT, because it kind of help you with the LTV, long-term value, right? you know that if customers come back, it's super important, because then you know how much actually value or profit they can bring to your company. And then you also know how much, the acquisition of the customer should cost. And because we have clients that spend, thousands of, pounds again, and these are individual customers, we exactly know that it would make sense to kind of, look into more expensive acquisition channels, which we haven't tried yet. We literally are just starting, with digital marketing. But we have been observing this because we now know we can afford it. And it makes sense, because we know that, once we acquire the customer, 40% of them will stay with us, and some we have from the beginning, like for 2 years, which is like fantastic. And some order our products on subscription, every 2 weeks, every month. So that's kind of super important to know, like, what is your loyalty of your customers.
I like that. So that's a kind of a top level matrix, and it's important because actually currently I'm actually building a kind of call it a mini system. I mean, I've got a lot of systems. I'm about actually to promote for businesses that are actually failing, because most businesses fail. And I came up with like 7 C's. It all starts in C's. The top one is called customer acquisition and retention. And it's funny that you actually hammer on retention, because obviously customer retention is so important. I having repeat customers, because normally it's cheaper to retain a customer than it is to acquire a customer. And even when you acquire a customer, because it's more expensive, you want to retain them. I like that. That's a really, really important metrics. I like that. So what are someone like, I mean, can you share a couple more metrics? I know that you mainly not a financial person, but I just want to hammer in a little bit more on, let's say how important is financial planning, how important is cash flow management. I mean, you as the founder, I mean, do you leave all that to someone else, or do you still keep your hand on the handle?
No, we definitely, I do have like theoretical, financial background. So in the MBA, I was specializing in finance. So I just understand, more or less, how finance works. And again, because it's a quite easy product, and it's easier, I guess, to just understand, what is our financial position and, and cash flows. So I definitely, just need to make sure. That's why I, closely observe what is our revenue. Can we afford a next production run? And, we produce every 2 months our products. And after each production as well, like, I always, make sure that like the margins, are enough. And only then, I'm making like, the overheads decisions. So like, can we spend now more money on marketing? There is so many ways of like, so many agencies that contact you, or kind of so many influencers,
Yes.
And that this is not a direct, kind of investment into sales. It may or may not come back to you. So we only make this decision, after like we exactly understand, what is our margin, and can we afford this? Because I definitely don't want like, to lose money and worry then. So we do it very carefully.
I get it. So when you spend money on marketing, you want to be sure that you're going to get back the money. But obviously, people, I think marketing is more of an investment, right? But then again, you want to make sure that you have the right people doing your marketing, and you're not just throwing money at marketing and it's not giving you any more sales, as it's kind of pointless, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, I do get it. It's an investment that might not be back, but I'm also making sure that we actually, like pay this with our profits. So
yes, correct.
I know that, this is our margin and this is like our profit. I know that this is now, what we can spend on marketing, and not other way around. First spending on marketing and then hoping that like we sell enough.
I like it. Correct. You make sure you have some free cash flow. And I always say to people, profits is not cash, but at least you make sure that you have some profits first, then you have the cash, and then you're going to use a portion of that into marketing, as opposed to spending just hoping to spend some money and make some profits. It doesn't really make sense like that. Okay, so how important is, I mean, you mentioned revenue quite a bit. But how important is just cash flow management as a whole for you? Like, like when I say cash flow management, like knowing your cash runway, like in terms of making sure that you have enough money to continue operations for the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah. No, so again, if we don't, have enough in the bank account, we are just not able to produce. And although we do negotiate with our suppliers, the payment terms, they are like maximum 30 days. Yeah. So we also cannot, and some of them still require cash, so we would not be able to make our next production run if we didn't have, any financial resources. So for that reason, it would just stop the business. Literally, this is as important.
Of course, exactly. No money, no business. So you got to make sure that you have, your money in the bank, but also you understand, as you said, the cash runway. You understand that you got to keep pumping money back into manufacturing, make goods, sell the goods. Make money, pump money back in. Cool. I got it. So, well, let me ask you the question, because I ask everyone who come on this podcast the question. Yeah. What does the term financial intelligence means to you?
I guess just being, wise with money, that you know what you actually do, that whenever you put the investor money, you know what actually you are doing, which again, it doesn't mean that we all know, right? We a lot invest into stock that we don't understand, not to mention cryptocurrencies that I guess no one really understands. So I wouldn't call this, financial intelligence. And then making kind of the, ends meet, right? Not worrying that, how am I going to pay the bills next month, and being ready for unexpected expenses is definitely part of financial intelligence.
I like it. Making wise decisions and having cash reserves, as you said, and knowing what you're doing with your money, knowing how your money is going to work for you. I like it. So, Anna, so in terms of fighting shorts and in terms of your business, if someone was trying to get to know more about you and more about your business, where can they find you? I mean, because obviously you just within 2 years into the business, you said investors are knocking on your door, marketing persons are knocking on your door. You seem to be doing quite well from our initial conversation and from having this conversation now. But if someone wanted to what is a really great product, I think I can maybe buy some wholesale, or I want to buy some retail. Where can they find you? Where can they find you and your product?
Yeah. So we have on our website, fightershots.co.uk, there is, an email provided. And so we welcome any contacts, via this email. And we do man, this email 24/7 almost. So we are very happy, to provide wholesale prices and negotiate, prices according to volumes. So we are very much available.
Yeah. And currently, do you ship your products anywhere at all? Do you export?
Yeah, so we ship, all across UK and the Highlands even, and Ireland, Northern Ireland. It is possible to buy also that we ship, our product to the EU, but obviously now the prices went up a little bit, but we still have, some customers in the EU, but they were all shipped from the UK. And then we are available in the UAE. So we also have another fulfillment center in the UAE and in the Emirates. And so, also customers can try our product there.
Cool. So your operations, is it completely UK based, UK manufacturing?
It is all manufactured, but then we export to the UAE, and we have a warehouse there, and we sell locally there.
Okay, cool. And do you import products? I guess you import the ginger and all the raw materials, am I correct?
Yeah. Ginger doesn't grow in the UK.
Yeah, exactly. So you do import, export, manufacturing. So you got your hands full for a team of 6 people, right?
Yes. But as I said, manufacturing is happening every 2 months. So it's not like an everyday thing. It's like a week, every 2 months that, I'm completely just dealing with manufacturing.
Yeah. So of course, so there is a kind of, what you call it, a cycle. There is a production cycle, a production distribution cycle, which you have to manage. Wow. But look, Anna, it's been really great to have you on. And I know that you are super busy. I appreciate you coming on and sharing some gems. And what's can someone contact you directly on, where can they find you on social media?
Well, LinkedIn. I am very active on LinkedIn as well. So definitely on LinkedIn. And
I'll be obviously posting this on LinkedIn as well as are you on Instagram?
The brand is Personally, I'm not, but also we read the emails again. I think everyone in our team has access to that. So
the email. All right. So email is the place to find you, which is fightershorts.co.uk. Is that correct? That's your website. Am I correct?
Yes.
And on the website, there is an email, and you can get information on Fighter Shorts. And I'm not going to keep you because you've been really, really a great guest to have on. You shared so many gems. And if there is anything at all I can do for you, do get in touch. I myself, I will be in touch with you. So I want to say a massive thank you for coming on. I want to wish you a very good day.
Thank you very much, Royston. Have a good day too.
Cheers.
Thank you very much for listening to my podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can find out more about me by Googling my name, Royston Cumberbatch. I'm on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can find me on YouTube as Roy Cumberbatch. And if you are listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, or you can find me on my website at www.racmacs.com. That's RACMACS.com. It'd be great to hear from you, and do feel free to tell me about any topics you want me to cover on future episodes. Until next time, be good to yourself and others, keep positive, and reaching for your financial goals. Bye-bye.